Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile, I am Heather. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Project number 1. A few days ago, my mama helped me make a video showing off IOD's new summer 2025 release. We used quite a few transfers from this new book called Saint Germain. And these are some of my remains of Saint Germain. And here's what they go on next. Remember my video called Best Haul Ever? Well, these insulators were in one of those boxes for which I only paid $4. I cleaned them up and now I am just cutting all of these little scraps into even smaller scraps so that they will fit on the sides of the insulators without going over that top edge. The first layer is just going to be a background, and I want it to be sort of plain but kind of full. So like something that looks like a fern would be good for a background. Something with lots of fronds or very small flowers without a lot of color. Applying transfers is super easy. Once you have your transfer cut to the size and shape you desire, simply lay it down on your object in the exact place you want it to be. And then give it a little rub with your hand. Next, use your transfer stick. That's the little plastic stick that comes in every package of IOD transfers, and use the flat end to rub the entire surface of your transfer. Next, use your other hand to gently pull back one corner of the carrier sheet. As you do that, continue using the transfer stick with your first hand to rub at that crease where it's pulling away. If any of it doesn't come off, that's okay. Just lay your carrier sheet back down and rub again. It should work. If it doesn't, it's probably because your surface is wet, or if you've painted, maybe your paint isn't dry. When the carrier sheet pulls completely away from your transfer, use it to rub the top of your transfer. Be gentle, especially with glass, because you might rub some of the transfer off. This is called burnishing, and it makes sure that everything is adhered. When I'm working with glass or maybe a metal surface that I'm afraid it will come up, I usually use my fingers. With these insulators, I went back and forth between my fingers and the carrier sheet. Just make sure that with every layer of bouquet, you burnish after you put down each piece. The next layer, I will put bigger flowers and maybe some more fronds that are more colorful going out the sides. Then I will add even smaller flowers going out different directions from the same point in the center. And finally, to fill it in, I will cut some pieces I can place in between other pieces and make them look like they are coming out from behind the rest of the bouquet. I did similar steps with all 3 insulators, and they were all different because obviously all the scraps are different and they're so cute. Next, I did seal these, but I don't want the sealer to go everywhere on the insulator because it will make it look filmy. I used Debi's liquid patina and a small brush to just dab it on. I made sure that it went over the edge of each transfer so that nothing can get between the insulator and the transfer. I used a larger brush to clean up where I colored outside the lines just a little too much. And then these cute little insulators were finished. I thought they would be a nice addition to any kind of decor where you just need to fit in a little piece where you have a hole. I love them. I can't wait to do these in different colors and sizes. Project number 2. My sweet friend Penny gave me some of these cake toppers and oh, I want more. I always make sure to put the screw back in the knob because I'm notorious at losing them. So I just wanted to show you that. I'm going to start with Debi's DIY Salvation Solution in the color white. This is a really good primer. It helps make surfaces smooth, it helps with tannins from different kinds of wood, and in this case, it helps paint stick better to metal. I'm adding one thick coat and then I will let it dry thoroughly. Not only does the air conditioner in my she shack help me because I haven't been cold since 1993, it also removes a lot of the humidity and helps things dry a lot quicker. As soon as I'm done using Salvation Solution, I clean my brush with Debi's DIY brush cleaner. This stuff is amazing. I don't know if I use it right, but this is what I do. I use my mister to add some water to it, and then I rub my brush in it. And then I take some clean paper towels and just wipe off my brush. I continue that until it's clean. This stuff is a miracle worker. It's very compatibly priced with other brush cleaners, but it saved me so much money because I cleaned out a bunch of brushes I had set aside that I thought I would have to throw away. I took some of Debi's Design Diary paint in the color beadboard and added it to a squeeze bottle. Then I went to town. I got that stuff everywhere. I want it to be really, really thick. This is the only coat I will put on of the beadboard. I'm going to use my turntable to keep going around and around and around, and I kind of pull my brush to the edge and the paint will eventually spill over. Then I do the same thing on the side, starting at the top, and work my brush down until the whole surface is covered. I let it dry overnight, and then I gave it a good solid coat of Rust-Oleum 2x gloss in clear. After it was very dry, it was ready to start the next layer, and for that I'm using Flirtatious, which is also by Debi's DIY. I put down a piece of plastic over my Lazy Susan because I don't want to keep having to paint it black so I won't look so messy. I am messy. I just don't want to look that way all the time. I squeezed out copious amounts of this paint and made a ginormous puddle with it. I usually don't care what kind of brush I use unless it just has to fit. And this brush fits perfect. In fact, it's called the Perfectionist. I don't sell these, but my friend Heather at Create Your Own Cozy does. In fact, that's where I bought mine. I will leave a link for that in the description below. I started by putting my brush right in the middle and turning my turntable with the other hand as I pulled the brush away from the center. And I just kept kind of picking it up and pulling it away and picking it up and pulling it away. This took quite a while, so I have sped up the film tremendously. When I got to the edge, I want it to spill over, so I used my mister, and I got these misters on Amazon. You can get them at craft stores, but I found a pretty good price for 2 of them. I'll leave a link for that in the description. Anything you buy from Amazon by using my link to get there, they will give me a small compensation, but it won't raise your price. After I sprayed all of the paint with the mister, I started again at the middle. This paint is still really thick as I'm pulling it away, so when it gets to the edge, it's just going to spill over. This is not the kind of thing you want to use a pouring paint with because those are watery, and I don't want this to be watery. I want it to look like frosting, and I want it to look like the frosting has dripped over the edge. Not like ganache that's flat and smooth, more like buttercream frosting that maybe melted a little and just ran down the sides. Next, I'm going to spray it with the misting bottle as I rotate the turntable. A misting bottle works a lot different than a regular spray bottle. It's a continuous mist, so you pull back that trigger one time and it leaves this continuous mist, kind of like how an aerosol does. And the droplets that come out of a misting bottle are a lot smaller than a regular spray bottle. So it's a very thin coat of water, but I put it everywhere. Then I added some more paint to the edges and I let it drip. If it wasn't dripping down, I helped coax it along with my paintbrush just a little bit and a little bit more water. When it's completely dry, I'm going to go back and paint over the parts where it was a little bit too watery and it doesn't have a heavy drip. I'm also going to fill in some places at the bottom where it didn't look like a regular cake. I don't want it to look like it has the rim around it like the cake topper is. I want it to look like it's a regular cake and it just dripped down the sides and stopped. You know how you can eat pansies? I don't know if you do know that, but I know that because I've had wedding cake with pansies on it, and that's kind of what I'm going for here. My friend Jillian had a wedding cake with pansies on it, and this really reminded me of it. So I found a lot of pictures that were really small in the St. Germain transfer book, and I also had a lot of scraps left. So I'm just putting these randomly wherever they fit. I sell IOD in my booth in upstate South Carolina, but I don't mail order. My friend Heather does, so I'll leave a link to her website. Also, if you want to shop in person, you can find a stockist near you by going right to IOD's website, and I will leave a link for that as well. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about how to apply a transfer because you already learned that in this video. Instead, I'm going to speed up the tape and you can just watch how I put all of these on. You'll see that I cut off some of the extra pieces that stuck out and then reapplied them in different areas. I just went round and round and filled it in until I thought it looked complete. I had to make that plain old black knob a little bit fancier, so I added some details to that. Then I gave her another coat of Rust-Oleum 2x sealer and gloss clear. I almost went and bought strawberry cake mix when I was done with this because I'm craving strawberry cake now. Isn't it cute? Project number 3. I have 3 bottles I collected here and there. I believe this one was from Dollar Tree. The one that looks like a maple syrup bottle is a maple syrup bottle. My husband always has that stuff. He sweetens everything with it. And finally, I have a blue vintage jar I found in the best haul ever. I'm simply giving each of these one transfer, and I will seal them again with Debi's Design Diary Liquid Patina in crystal clear chandelier. I'll be putting that on with a small brush and just putting it right over the edge of each transfer. I think since we all have it figured out how to apply a transfer, that is, I'm going to go ahead and speed this up, and I'll catch you at the end. Not only did these turn out super cute, I also found the perfect flowers to put in them right out of my own yard. Here they are. I am so grateful y'all joined me again today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and those notifications because I'm going to have more of this 2025 summer release from Iron Orchid Designs. I love this stuff. At the end of this video, I will have a link to a playlist of more IOD videos. Until you see me next time, I sure do hope y'all have a wonderful week. And as always, I hope you are blessed. Bye.